The grand hall of the verdant palace was suffused with a heavy silence that seemed almost alive, thick with unspoken fears and whispered secrets. The year was 1847, and the kingdom of Eldoria was at a crossroads. Its ruler, King Aldrich Varnes, had been dead for 3 days, yet his presence still haunted the marble corridors and shadowed chambers like an unshakable ghost. The court physician, Dr. Lucien Marot, was summoned into the royal chambers deep within the palace, a space once filled with the king's commanding voice and boisterous laughter, now cold and eerily still. Standing before the ornate bed draped with crimson velvet, Lucien hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward. The body of King Aldrich lay motionless, his features calm but marked by an unnatural pallor. Despite the death, Lucien sensed an unsettling aura, a faint, almost imperceptible tremor beneath the surface of the king's skin, a whisper of something profoundly wrong. The physician's eyes darted to the royal figure's hands, clasped across his chest, and then to the strange, faint discoloration around his jawline. It was as if the king's final sleep had been disturbed by something far beyond natural death. The Queen Regent, Lady Evelyn Varnes, entered quietly behind him. Her face was pale, her eyes rimmed with dark circles from days of grief and exhaustion. Her voice, trembling yet firm, broke the silence. "Doctor, I need you to perform your duties. Whatever has happened to Aldrich, I beg you, be thorough. Do not leave anything to chance." Lucien nodded, taking a deep breath. "Your Grace, I will do my utmost. But I must warn you, the signs I observe are unusual. I have seen many deaths in my time, but this one bears marks of something more complex. It is as if the king's body fought against itself in his final moments." Evelyn's eyes widened with a flicker of fear. "Then we must find the truth. For the sake of Eldoria, I must know what took him from us, and what might threaten us still." Lucien approached the bed, a small, ornate silver case in hand, containing his instruments and reagents. As he began the examination, he thought back on the rumors swirling in the shadowed hallways of the court, rumors that had grown louder in recent years. Whispers of a curse, of a secret illness that no healer dared to speak openly. An affliction so bizarre that it defied all medical understanding, a dark secret buried deep within the royal bloodline. He carefully examined the body, noticing more than just the pallor. There was a strange, almost unnatural rigidity in the muscles, and beneath the skin, the tissues seemed to ripple with faint, irregular movements. It was as if the king's flesh was alive in a way that was impossible for a corpse. Lucien's fingers trembled slightly as he pressed gently on the eyelids, noting the stiffness. His Majesty's death was swift, but the cause? "It's not natural," he muttered. Evelyn stepped closer, her voice barely a whisper. "What do you mean? Is it a disease?" Lucien hesitated, then shook his head slowly. "I cannot say for certain. The signs suggest something more, an internal corruption, perhaps a form of biological mutation or something even darker. I've seen similar cases in forbidden texts, but never in a living monarch." Suddenly a servant entered quietly, clutching a small vial. "My lady," he whispered urgently. "A messenger from the palace's secret chambers. There are reports of strange noises, strange lights near the old wing. The guards are afraid. Some say it's the king's spirit, awakened." Evelyn's face twisted with unease. "What is happening? Is this some curse? Or is it something else?" Lucien looked at her, eyes shadowed with concern. "Whatever it is, we must proceed with caution. The truth of Aldrich's death may be far darker than we imagine, and revealing it could threaten us all." The old wing of the Verdant Palace, long abandoned and shrouded in legend, was now the focus of whispers and dread. It was a part of the fortress where the most secret of the king's dealings had taken place, hidden chambers, arcane rituals, and forbidden knowledge. Rumors persisted that Aldrich had become obsessed with an ancient relic, one said to grant eternal life or, worse, to curse its bearer with madness and decay. That night, Lucien, Evelyn, and a handful of trusted guards ventured into the wing, their lanterns flickering against the dark stone walls. The air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. As they moved deeper, The silence was broken only by their footsteps and the faint, irregular whispers that seemed to emanate from the shadows. In a small, sealed chamber, they found the remnants of the king's experiments, strange symbols scrawled on the walls, jars filled with unidentifiable substances, and a tattered, leather-bound tome. It was the last record of Aldrich's obsession, a desperate search for a secret to defy mortality, to escape the decline of flesh and bone. Lucien's fingers trembled as he examined the book. The pages were filled with cryptic diagrams, incantations, and descriptions of forbidden alchemy. One passage caught his eye. The blood of the curse, twisted by the shadow of eternity, will bind the soul to the flesh, forever in torment. Evelyn, trembling, reached out and touched a strange, pulsating object, a malformed, blackened stone that seemed to ripple with a life of its own. This, whatever it is, it's alive. Or it was alive, she whispered. Suddenly, a faint, eerie glow filled the chamber. Shadows danced along the walls, elongating and twisting into shapes that resembled the king himself, his face contorted in agony, his eyes hollow, beckoning from the depths of the darkness. The whispers grew louder, forming words that only Lucien could decipher. The king's curse was never meant to be broken. It was only to be hidden. A cold dread settled over the group. They knew that whatever had killed Aldrich was not a simple illness. It was an ancient, malevolent force, a corruption buried in the very blood of the royal house. And now, that darkness threatened to consume the entire kingdom. Back in her chambers, Evelyn grappled with her growing fears. She was not only mourning her husband but also haunted by the strange, almost supernatural events surrounding his death. Her nights were plagued by visions of a black, writhing creature that slithered beneath her skin, whispering promises of power and damnation. She confided in her most trusted lady-in-waiting, Lady Mary, who listened with wide eyes. "My lady, I fear that the king's death was no natural event. There is something dark in this palace, something that can't be seen or touched, but can be felt." Evelyn nodded slowly. "I've seen it too. I've felt it. Whatever this curse is, I fear it is not finished. And I have a terrible suspicion it may soon claim me as well." In the days that followed, Evelyn's health declined rapidly. Her skin grew pallid, her voice fragile. She became obsessed with cleansing the palace, ordering the removal of relics, the destruction of ancient texts, and the sealing of the old wing. Yet, no matter what she did, the darkness persisted. One night, she confronted Lucien in her chambers. "Tell me what you know. Is this some curse? Some plague?" Lucien hesitated, then revealed a secret he had kept hidden for years. Long ago, the royal bloodline was tainted, by inbreeding, yes, but also by an ancient ritual. Some say the curse was awakened long before Aldrich's time, buried beneath the foundations of the palace itself. The king's obsession, the experiments, all of it. Perhaps it was the only way to try and control it. Evelyn's face was a mask of horror. "And what can we do? How do we stop this?" Lucien shook his head. "I fear it's too late. The darkness has a will of its own. The only hope is to contain it, seal it away forever, or destroy whatever remains of the relics and the knowledge that awakened it." But as they spoke, a new, horrifying thought took root, that the curse was not merely a supernatural force, but something rooted in the very fabric of the bloodline, an insidious genetic mutation, a perversion that had haunted their family for generations, waiting for an opportunity to strike again. As months passed, the palace's walls seemed to close in tighter around the remaining royal family. Evelyn's health deteriorated further, and she was confined to her chambers, her mind unraveling under the weight of her fears. Lucien, meanwhile, worked tirelessly, trying to find a cure, an impossible task. The kingdom's officials, sensing the growing instability, began to question whether the royal bloodline was beyond salvation. Meanwhile, the rumors of the curse's existence leaked into the court's underground circles. Some whispered that the king's bizarre behavior, his erratic decisions, his paranoia, these were all symptoms of the ancient evil that had taken root within him. Others believed that the king himself was a victim of a terrible genetic curse, a mutation that twisted his body and mind. One fateful night, the palace was rocked by a series of screams. Guards rushed to the chambers of the king, only to find him hunched over his bed, trembling and muttering incoherent words. His body was marred by strange markings, and his face was contorted with pain and rage. The physicians hurried in, but there was little they could do. In his final days, Aldrich Varnes raved about a shadow that had been with him since childhood, a shadow that had grown stronger, feeding on his fears and weaknesses. "The darkness, it's in my blood, it's in the walls, it's in all of us," he whispered, just before slipping into a coma. When he finally died, his body was a grotesque shell, his organs swollen and misshapen, his flesh riddled with internal scars and deformities. The autopsy revealed the truth. A horrifying internal mutation, a twisted legacy of centuries of incestuous bloodlines, had rendered him physically and psychologically broken. His death marked the end of an era, but the curse lingered. The palace was sealed, and the secret was buried deep within its stone foundations, hidden away from the world. Yet the darkness was not gone, only sleeping, waiting for a time when it could rise again. This is a starting point for your story. If you'd like, I can continue with subsequent sections, expanding on the story, characters, and events, reaching the full length you desire. Would you like me to proceed with the next part? Absolutely. I will continue the story, maintaining the depth and richness, expanding the narrative further. Here is Section 5, continuing from the previous storyline, focusing on the aftermath of King Aldrich's death and the emerging shadows over the kingdom of Eldoria. The grand halls of the verdant palace fell silent after King Aldrich Varnes's death, but the echoes of his downfall reverberated through the corridors and chambers like distant thunder. The kingdom of Eldoria, once a land of grandeur and stability, now teetered on the brink of chaos. Rumors of curses, dark rituals, and a malevolent presence seeped into every corner of the realm, carried by whispering courtiers, fearful peasants, and restless soldiers. In the weeks that followed, the regency was assumed by Lady Evelyn Varnes, the Queen Mother, whose fragile health and mental state were rapidly declining. Her mind, haunted by the images of her husband's suffering and the dark secrets buried within the palace walls, was slipping into a labyrinth of paranoia and despair. She withdrew from court life, spending long hours in her chambers, clutching relics and ancient texts, desperately seeking answers. The court physicians, once trusted advisors, now found themselves in a perilous position. Their reports, once routine, became increasingly cautious. They whispered of an unseen corruption, of an ailment not just of the flesh but of the soul, and of a malevolent force that defies science. Yet no one dared to speak openly of the true nature of the darkness that had claimed the king, and perhaps was still lurking in the shadows. Meanwhile, the kingdom's political stability continued to unravel. Power struggles erupted among the noble houses, each vying for influence, whispering conspiracies of treachery and rebellion. Many believed that the royal curse had weakened the very fabric of the realm, inviting chaos and civil unrest. The merchants, farmers, and soldiers all sensed a palpable unease that hung in the air. In a secret council held deep within the fortress walls, a small group of trusted men and women gathered, royal advisors, scholars, and mystics, all sworn to secrecy. Their leader, Lord Thaddeus Corrin, a seasoned diplomat and occult scholar, spoke gravely. The darkness that consumed Aldrich was no ordinary sickness. It was a curse, a contamination of the blood, perhaps even a malevolent spirit bound to our line. If we do not act swiftly, this darkness will consume Eldoria entirely. He paused, then added, "We must find the source. The old chambers, the relics, the forbidden texts, something remains hidden, something that holds the key to ending this nightmare. But be warned, the truth may be worse than we dare imagine." As darkness deepened over the land, strange phenomena began to occur. Shadows moved with a life of their own in the night, whispering voices echoed in the deserted halls, and unexplained illnesses spread among the populace. People spoke in hushed tones of seeing ghostly figures, faint reflections of a king's former self, twisted and distorted, wandering the palace ruins. In the distant village of Greybrook, a young healer named Mira uncovered an ancient manuscript buried beneath the ruins of an abandoned monastery. Its pages were filled with cryptic symbols, warnings, and a chilling prophecy. When the blood of the cursed awakens, the darkness shall rise anew, and only the pure of heart shall withstand its wrath. Mira's discovery coincided with a series of inexplicable deaths, families found dead in their beds, their faces frozen in expressions of terror, with strange black markings on their flesh. The signs pointed to a curse far older and more malignant than anything the court had dared to acknowledge. It was a poison that had seeped into the very roots of Eldoria's royal lineage, waiting for its moment to strike again. Back in the palace, rumors swirled among the courtiers. Some whispered that the late king's death was not natural but orchestrated by an unseen force, perhaps even by the very remnants of the dark magic he had once sought to control. Others believed that the curse was ancestral, passed down through generations, and that the royal bloodline itself was irrevocably tainted. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Lady Evelyn summoned her most trusted confidant, a wise old woman named Mabel. "Mabel," she whispered in a trembling voice, "do you think it's possible that the king's death was not an accident? That something else, something darker, was involved?" Mabel looked into her eyes and nodded slowly. "There are truths buried deep, Lady Evelyn. Secrets that mortal men dare not face. But I fear that the curse is not just in the blood. It's in the very fabric of this palace, alive, waiting, hungry." As the days grew darker, the shadows lengthened, and the kingdom's once radiant veneer began to crack. The palace, once a symbol of power and stability, now seemed a mausoleum haunted by the ghosts of the past. Rumors of a cursed bloodline, of dark rituals, and of an ancient evil awakening spread like wildfire. One night, a mysterious figure appeared at the palace gates, an old man cloaked in tattered robes, clutching a strange talisman. He claimed to be a scholar of the occult, one who had studied the ancient curses that plagued the royal house. His name was Alaric Stroud. "I come with a warning," Alaric said, voice gravelly but commanding. "The curse that afflicts your line is not just a sickness of the body but of the soul. It is a living thing, born from the sins of your ancestors, awakened by their hubris. To end it, you must confront the source, the relics, the rituals, and the blood that binds you." Evelyn, desperate for answers, summoned him into the palace. "Tell me what must be done. How do we save ourselves?" Alaric's eyes gleamed with a strange light. "There is a ritual, ancient and forbidden, that can break the curse. But it comes at a terrible cost. You must sacrifice what is most precious, yourself, your loved ones, or your very soul. The choice is yours." His words sent shivers through all who listened. The palace trembled with unseen forces, and the shadows seemed to pulse with malevolent life. The question remained, was salvation possible? Or was the curse irrevocable, destined to consume everyone in its path? As Alaric's warnings spread through the court, a secret faction formed, those who believed in confronting the darkness directly, risking everything to challenge the ancient evil. Their leader was a young noblewoman named Lady Seraphina, known for her fierce intellect and unshakable faith. She gathered her allies in the shadowed vaults beneath the palace, poring over ancient texts and forbidden tomes. Together, they discovered a fragment of a long-lost ritual, a ritual that could potentially cleanse the bloodline and banish the darkness forever. But it required a sacrifice, one that could cost the life of a royal, or even the soul of the entire realm. Meanwhile, in the palace, Lady Evelyn struggled with her own fears. She had begun to see visions, phantasms of her husband's face, twisted with agony, reaching out to her from the depths of darkness. Her mind was fraying at the edges, and her trusted advisors warned her that her grip on reality was slipping. One night, Evelyn confided in her personal physician, Dr. Hadrian Voss. "Doctor," she whispered, clutching a relic from her childhood, "I feel the darkness inside me. It's like a shadow that grows with every passing day. Do you think I can survive it?" Voss looked at her with grave concern. "Your Grace, this is no ordinary illness. It is a spiritual affliction, perhaps the last remnants of the curse eating away at your very soul. We must find a way to purify your spirit before it's too late. He handed her a small vial filled with a glowing liquid. This may help. Or it may only delay the inevitable. But you must decide, resist, or surrender to the darkness. As Evelyn drank the potion, she felt warmth seep into her veins, but also a strange, icy dread. Her visions intensified, and she saw the king's ghostly face, beckoning her to join him in the shadows. Elsewhere, Seraphina and her band of rebels prepared for the ultimate act, an attempt to perform the ritual, to exorcise the curse once and for all. They knew that failure would mean the end of Eldoria, but they believed that hope, however faint, was worth risking everything. The night of the ritual arrived. The palace trembled with the voices of the past, the whispers of the cursed bloodline. Shadows swirled and coalesced into figures, manifestations of guilt, shame, and ancient evil. Seraphina, standing at the center of the ancient chamber, prepared herself for the final confrontation. As she began the incantation, the darkness roared in defiance. The air grew thick with malevolent energy, and the very walls seemed to bleed shadows. Evelyn, weakened yet determined, entered the chamber, clutching her relic and her resolve. Together, Seraphina called out, voice echoing through the chamber. We can end this curse! A blinding flash of light erupted, and the darkness writhed, shrieked, and finally, receded. The shadows dissolved into nothingness, and silence fell. But victory came at a cost. Evelyn collapsed, her life force drained, her body broken by the effort. Seraphina, bloodied and exhausted, looked upon her fallen queen and whispered, "It is over. The curse is broken. But at what price?" The dawn broke over Eldoria, the skies clear and bright. The shadows had lifted, but the scars remained. The royal bloodline was forever changed, marked by the darkness, yet freed from its terrible grip. And in the depths of the palace, the remnants of the cursed relics were sealed away, hidden from mortal sight, guarded by those who understood that some truths are too terrible to reveal, some secrets too dangerous to unearth. The dawn that broke over Eldoria was unlike any other in recent memory. The sky stretched wide and clear, the air crisp with the gentle promise of renewal. The darkness that had haunted the palace, the shadows that had whispered madness and death, had finally receded, or so it seemed. The ancient curse, the malevolent force that had seeped into every corner of the realm, was believed to be broken, sealed away behind layers of ancient magic and human sacrifice. But beneath the surface, the wounds remained deep. The palace, once a symbol of strength and stability, now bore scars, cracks in its walls, haunted corridors where echoes of the past still lingered, and rooms forever shrouded in silence or trembling with unspoken fears. Queen Evelyn, lying weak in her chamber, was a shadow of her former self. Her body, ravaged by the spiritual and physical toll of battling the curse, was fragile, and her mind often wandered into dark corridors of doubt. She had survived the ordeal, but at a terrible cost. Her nights were haunted by visions of her husband's ghost, twisted and tormented, reaching out to drag her into the abyss. Her personal physician, Dr. Voss, watched her with growing concern. "Your Grace," he urged softly, "you have fought valiantly, but your body and mind are strained beyond measure. You must rest, allow yourself to heal." Evelyn blinked, her eyes vacant and unfocused. "Is it truly over?" she whispered. "Or is this just the calm before another storm?" Voss placed a reassuring hand on her trembling shoulder. "The darkness is gone, for now. But the shadows of the past are not so easily erased. We must remain vigilant. The curse may have been sealed, but the memories and the wounds will linger for generations." Meanwhile, in the shadows of the palace's depths, unsealed and hidden in a vault deep beneath the foundations, lay the remnants of the cursed relics. The dark, pulsating stones, the cryptic texts, and the ritual artifacts, sealed away by Seraphina and her allies. They believed their work was done, that the evil was vanquished. Yet some whispered that the very sealing had only contained the darkness, not destroyed it. In the court, political factions scrambled to restore stability. The noble houses, once fractured by internal power struggles, now faced the daunting task of rebuilding trust. The royal council, led by the cautious and pragmatic Lord Corrin, pressed for reforms. They knew that the kingdom's survival depended not just on magic or rituals but on healing its political wounds. But not everyone believed that the curse had been fully eradicated. Rumors persisted among the common folk, stories of strange lights in the night, of whispers carried on the wind, and of a faint, ongoing presence in the palace's oldest chambers. Some claimed that the curse was merely dormant, waiting for an opportunity to strike again. In the distant provinces, whispers of rebellion grew louder. The peasants and merchants, suffering under the heavy weight of taxes and neglect, viewed the royal court as a source of evil. The recent horrors had shattered their faith in the monarchy's divine right, and many saw the curse as a metaphor for the corruption and decay rotting the heart of Eldoria. Lady Evelyn's health continued to decline. Her advisors, fearing her imminent death, began to prepare for a new regency. The next in line was her youngest son, Prince Selim, a boy of 16, intelligent but inexperienced, a fragile hope for a fractured realm. Evelyn, weakened but resolute, summoned her counselors and the royal scribes. Her voice was barely a whisper, but her words carried weight. "The kingdom is wounded," she said slowly. "We have faced darkness beyond understanding. We must rebuild not just the walls of the palace but the trust of our people. We must be honest about what happened and about what may come." She looked at her son with a mixture of love and caution. "Selim, you will be king one day. When that time comes, remember that true strength does not lie in magic or secrets, but in truth and mercy." Selim nodded solemnly, understanding the weight of her words. His childhood had been shadowed by the stories of his father's madness and the dark legacy they carried. He vowed silently to steer a different course, a brighter, more honest path. Months turned into years, and Eldoria attempted to heal. Yet the shadows persisted, sometimes flickering in the corners of the realm like ghostly remnants of the past. The ancient vaults beneath the palace, sealed with powerful enchantments, remained untouched, guarded by the Order of the Keepers, descendants of Seraphina's allies, dedicated to preventing any resurgence of the darkness. The realm's political landscape was shifting. New alliances emerged, some based on fear, others on hope. Foreign envoys arrived, cautiously extending their hand to a kingdom scarred but resilient. They brought with them whispers of technological innovations, medical breakthroughs, and philosophical ideas, tools to help rid Eldoria of its lingering malaise. Meanwhile, Mira, the young healer who had discovered the ancient manuscript, became a key figure in the kingdom's spiritual and medical renaissance. Her research into the curse's origins led her to believe that the evil was not solely rooted in dark magic but also in the very fabric of human nature, an inherent flaw, a genetic curse passed down through generations of inbred royal blood. She tirelessly worked alongside scholars and physicians, seeking a way to cleanse the bloodline, not through dark rituals but through science and compassion. "We cannot change our ancestors' sins," she often said, "but we can choose to break the cycle. We must find a new way forward, one based on understanding, not fear." Yet, the shadow of the past was never far away. Strange occurrences still haunted her, visions of the king's twisted face, whispers in the dark, and the faint pulse of something ancient and malevolent beneath the surface of reality. As the old palace slowly transformed into a symbol of renewal, a clandestine order arose, the Guardians of the Light. They believed that the curse could only be fully eradicated if the source was confronted directly. They delved into forbidden knowledge, seeking artifacts and texts from forgotten civilizations, hoping to find a way to purify the bloodline forever. Their leader, a knight named Sir Roderick, was haunted by dreams of the past kings, visions of Aldrich's suffering, of the darkness that had consumed him. Roderick believed that the true battle was not over the physical realm but within the human soul. "The curse is not just in blood," he declared. "It is in fear, hatred, and the darkness we hide inside ourselves. Only by facing our deepest shadows can we hope to heal." Meanwhile, whispers spread about a mysterious figure known as the Seer of Shadows. who claimed to have glimpsed the true nature of the ancient evil. He warned that the curse was a living, breathing entity, one that could return if ever disturbed. In the shadows of the palace, unseen eyes watched and waited. The sealed vaults, the forbidden relics, the dark energies buried deep beneath Eldoria's foundations, they were not gone forever. The fragile peace was but a thin veneer over a realm still haunted by its past. Prince Selim was crowned king amid a subdued ceremony. His reign was to be different, marked by transparency, reform, and a sincere attempt to forge a new path. Yet old fears lingered in his mind, whispering that the darkness was only sleeping, waiting to awaken once more. His first act was to establish a council dedicated to investigating the palace's ancient secrets, to ensure that no remnants of the curse could ever threaten the realm again. He appointed Mira as the royal healer and scholar, her knowledge and compassion vital to the kingdom's future. But as the kingdom moved forward, strange phenomena persisted. The people's dreams were haunted by visions of shadowy figures, and some claimed to see ghostly apparitions in the palace's old wings. The land's stability was fragile, and the shadows of the past cast long, dark streaks across the dawn of a new era. In the distant mountains, a new guardian, cloaked in mystery, watched over Eldoria. He held a relic, a crystalline orb pulsating with unnatural light, and whispered to himself, "The curse may be sealed, but it never truly dies. It only waits for the next foolish soul to awaken it." And so the cycle continued, an endless dance between light and shadow, hope and despair, the human soul's eternal struggle with its own darkness. Years had passed since King Selim's coronation, and Eldoria had begun to heal. The kingdom's wounds were slowly mending, and new hopes blossomed in the hearts of its people. But beneath this veneer of renewal, unseen currents of darkness stirred anew. In the remote northern reaches of Eldoria, beyond the bustling cities and lush fields, a hidden mountain range concealed the secret. An ancient cavern whispered about in legends, known as the Vault of Echoes. Few dared to approach it, for it was said that the very air within thrummed with residual dark energy, and that those who entered often never returned quite the same. In recent weeks, strange phenomena had begun to occur around the mountain. Unexplained tremors shook the earth, and eerie lights flickered in the night sky. Travelers and shepherds spoke of hearing ghostly voices carried on the wind, whispers of forgotten sins and lost souls. One evening, a mysterious figure cloaked in dark robes arrived at the foot of the mountain. His name was Kael, a scholar and seeker of forbidden truths. He carried with him an artifact, an obsidian shard pulsing with an unnatural glow. He had learned from ancient texts that the curse's remnants were not fully eradicated but merely hidden, waiting for an opportunity to reawaken. "I can feel it," Kael murmured, eyes gleaming. "The darkness is alive, dormant but restless." The sealed vault is only a thin veil over something far worse. If we do not confront it now, Eldoria will fall again, perhaps even worse than before. Driven by a mix of curiosity and dread, Kael entered the cavern, guided only by faint traces of dark energy. Inside, he discovered a chamber lined with ancient symbols and a crack in the earth, the source of the residual evil. As he approached, the shard in his hand vibrated violently, resonating with the shadows beneath. Suddenly, the ground trembled fiercely, and a voice echoed through the chamber, a voice that seemed to come from the depths of the abyss itself. "You have disturbed my slumber, mortal. Do you think you can contain what was never meant to be chained?" Kaelin's heart pounded. He realized that the curse was not merely sealed away but had evolved, forming a consciousness of its own, a malevolent entity that sought to return, stronger and more cunning than before. Back in Eldoria, whispers of the disturbance reached the royal court. Some dismissed it as mere superstition, but others, especially Mira and Roderick, sensed the truth. The ancient evil had not been fully vanquished but merely hidden, waiting for the right moment to re-emerge. In secret councils, they debated whether to send an expedition to the mountain, risking unleashing the darkness fully or perhaps destroying it once and for all. The decision was fraught with tension, for the realm had already paid a heavy price. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the palace, a new figure emerged, one cloaked in darkness, yet with a purpose hidden from all but herself. She was Leora, a descendant of the ancient bloodline cursed long ago, and she carried within her a fragment of the original evil, a shard of shadow that whispered promises of power. Leora had been living in exile, her mind fractured by the dark magic she carried. But as the echoes of the mountain's disturbance grew louder, she sensed an opportunity. "The curse is not gone," she whispered to herself, eyes gleaming with malevolence. "It awakens once more, and I will harness its power to reshape Eldoria in my image." Her plan was to seek out the remnants of the curse's true source, hidden deep within the palace vaults, and awaken the darkness fully, to claim its power for herself. She believed that with the shadow's might, she could overthrow the fragile peace and become the true ruler of Eldoria. In the meantime, Sir Roderick and the Guardians of the Light sensed the growing unrest. Their leader, hardened by years of battles against darkness, knew that the threat was more insidious than ever. The ancient evil was awakening, and the realm's defenses, both magical and political, were insufficient. He convened a secret assembly in the deepest vault beneath the palace, where the sealed relics still pulsed faintly with residual energy. There, they debated whether to perform a dangerous ritual to reinforce the seal or to venture into the mountain themselves, risking unleashing the full extent of the darkness. "You cannot contain what you do not fully understand," Roderick warned. "We must confront it directly, or sooner or later, it will consume us all." Yet caution prevailed among many. The realm was fragile, and the people still bore scars from the last confrontation. The Guardians decided to send a small, elite team, led by Mira and including a brave knight named Thane, to investigate the mountain and determine the true nature of the resurgence. As they prepared for their perilous journey, Mira pondered the ancient texts. She realized that the curse's true origin might be tied to the very foundation of Eldoria, its bloodline, its history, and its deepest sins. To truly heal, they might need to confront not just the external darkness but the internal darkness within themselves. As night fell over Eldoria, a strange and ominous eclipse darkened the sky, an unnatural phenomenon that the old seers recognized as a sign of the shadow's resurgence. The darkness was stirring, awakening from its slumber, and the realm's fragile peace was once more at risk. In the depths of the mountain, Kael faced the embodiment of the curse, an immense shadow humanoid, its form shifting and writhing with malevolent energy. It spoke in a voice that rumbled like distant thunder. "You have fed the darkness with your curiosity, mortal. Now bear witness to its true power." Kael raised his shard, channeling what magic he could muster. "I do not seek to feed you," he said fiercely. "I seek to understand you, to end your reign of terror." The shadow roared and lunged, but Kaelin's shard blazed with a blinding light, causing the darkness to recoil. It was a battle of wills, a struggle to determine whether the curse would be fully unleashed or forever banished. Meanwhile, in Eldoria, the people looked skyward, sensing that the balance of their world hung by a thread. Old fears, buried deep, resurfaced, and hope flickered like a dying candle. The cycle of darkness and light was relentless, and the true test of Eldoria's resilience had only just begun. The cavern trembled with fury as the shadow embodied the curse's awakening. Its form was a swirling mass of darkness, shifting between humanoid and formless chaos, eyes burning with malevolent intelligence. Kael faced it alone, his shard glowing fiercely in the dim, cavernous chamber. But even as he summoned his courage, memories flooded him, visions of Eldoria's past, of Aldrich's madness, of the sacrifices made to seal away the evil. He felt the weight of centuries of suffering and the terrible truth that the darkness was not merely an external force but also a reflection of mankind's deepest fears and sins. As the shadow lunged, Kael remembered Myra's words. "The curse is not just in the magic but in ourselves." With renewed resolve, he raised his shard and shouted, "I refuse to let you consume us. I am the light that will banish you." The shard erupted in a blinding cascade of light, piercing the darkness like a sword. The shadow recoiled, shrieking in torment. But the evil was cunning. It twisted itself into new forms, lashing out with tendrils of shadow that threatened to engulf Kael entirely. Meanwhile, Back in Eldoria, the people felt a sudden chill, a sense of impending doom. The sky darkened as if the very heavens mourned, and whispers of despair spread like wildfire. The realm's leaders, including King Selim's advisors, debated urgent measures. Some called for retreat, others for a desperate push to reinforce the ancient seals. In the midst of this chaos, Mira and Thane reached the mountain's entrance, their hearts pounding with anticipation. Mira clutched her amulet, a relic infused with the light of Eldoria's hope, and whispered a prayer for strength. Inside the cavern, Kaelin's voice echoed through the chamber. "You cannot hide forever, evil! Your reign of terror ends today!" The Shadow's voice responded in a chorus of whispers, each more sinister than the last. "This world is built on darkness, mortal. You merely delay the inevitable. I am the echo of your fears, the reflection of your sins. You cannot destroy what is part of your very soul." Kaelin hesitated, trembling. He realized that the Shadow was not just a creature to be slain but an aspect of human nature, an ancient force that fed on despair and hatred. In that moment, Mira entered the chamber, her face grim but determined. She saw Kaelin struggling against the Shadow, and she understood that the true battle was not only physical but spiritual. "Kaelin," she said softly, "we cannot simply fight this darkness as if it's an enemy outside us. We must confront what it represents, our fears, our guilt. Only then can we find the strength to banish it." Kaelin nodded, understanding her meaning. He lowered his shard slightly, feeling the weight of his own doubts and regrets. The Shadow sensed this vulnerability and surged forward, attempting to overwhelm him. But Mira stepped beside him, raising her hands and channeling the pure light she had dedicated her life to harnessing. "You are not alone," she whispered. "We face this darkness together." The light and shadow clashed in a brilliant explosion of energy, a fierce struggle that shook the very foundations of Eldoria's realm. As the battle raged, the Shadow's voice grew weaker. It hissed, "You cannot escape your own nature, the darkness is within you all." But Myra's voice cut through the chaos. "We are more than our F." A brilliant flash of light erupted as the shard and Myra's magic combined, engulfing the Shadow in a blinding radiance. The darkness shrieked and writhed, dissolving into nothingness as the light pierced its core. In the aftermath, Kaelin fell to his knees, exhausted but victorious. The Shadow was gone, banished not just by magic, but by the strength of their conviction and the courage to face their inner darkness. Back in Eldoria, the skies cleared, and the realm felt a renewed sense of hope. The ancient evil was defeated, at least for now, but the scars remained. The people understood that darkness was a part of their world, but so was their capacity for light and redemption. King Selim, informed of the victory, summoned Mira and Thane. He declared a new era of transparency and unity, vowing to face the shadows within his own heart and lead Eldoria into a future built on truth and compassion. Leora, the Darkborn descendant, watched from the shadows, her plans thwarted for now but her hunger for power undiminished. She knew that the battle was far from over, that the darkness could always return if they let their guard down. And deep beneath the palace, in the sealed vaults, the relics of the curse remained guarded by the guardians of the light, reminders of the eternal struggle between darkness and hope. "The cycle persists," whispered the wind through Eldoria's trees, "but so does the resilience of those who choose to believe in the possibility of dawn after night." The victory over the Shadow was celebrated across Eldoria, but beneath the surface, a new tension simmered. Mira, haunted by the darkness she had faced, began to question if the evil was truly gone, or merely waiting for its next opportunity to rise. Meanwhile, Leora, the dark descendant, retreated into the shadows, her mind swirling with plans of revenge. She knew that the curse's true power lay not just in the shadow itself but in the secrets buried deep within the palace vaults, secrets that could tip the balance between light and darkness once again. One moonless night, Leora slipped past the guards, her footsteps silent as she made her way to a concealed door within the palace's oldest wing. This door was etched with ancient symbols, long forgotten by most. She traced her fingers over the symbols, whispering an incantation learned from her ancestors. The door creaked open, revealing a chamber filled with relics, scrolls, and a single, sealed chest, an artifact said to hold the true source of the curse's original power. Leora's eyes gleamed with anticipation. "I will unlock your secrets," she hissed. "And when I do, the world will tremble once more." As she broke the seal and opened the chest, a dark mist spilled out, coiling around her like serpents. Within it, she saw a fragment of an ancient, forbidden magic. An artifact called the Heart of Shadows. It was the key to unleashing the curse's full potential and reshaping Eldoria in her image. The Heart of Shadows was alive, whispering promises of power and revenge. Leora hesitated, feeling the temptation grow stronger. The magic was corrupting her mind, whispering that she deserved to rule, to take vengeance on those who had cast her out. But within her, a spark of her true self fought back, her hope for a different future. She remembered her ancestors' warnings. "Beware the darkness within, for it can consume even the strongest of hearts." Choosing her destiny, Leora sealed the heart once more, hiding it in a secret compartment within the chamber. "Not yet," she whispered. "But soon I will have my revenge." Unbeknownst to her, the heart's magic had already begun to seep into the palace walls, slowly awakening dormant shadows buried beneath. The very foundation of Eldoria was shifting, and dark tendrils reached out, hungry for freedom. Back at the palace, Mira sensed a new disturbance, an echo of the ancient curse stirring anew. She confided in Roderick and Thane, warning them that the darkness was not truly gone but merely sleeping, waiting for its moment to rise. "What we fought was only a fragment," Mira said gravely. "The true test is yet to come." In her quest to understand the lingering darkness, Mira sought out an ancient seer named Alicia, who lived in solitude atop the misty peaks. Alicia was said to possess knowledge of the curse's origins and the means to prevent its full resurgence. Alicia welcomed Mira and Thane, revealing a startling truth: the curse was born from a conflict between two ancient entities, one embodying the light and the other the darkness, locked in eternal struggle since the dawn of Eldoria. She explained that the Heart of Shadows was a fragment of the darkness's essence, and if it was unleashed fully, it could tear the realm apart. Alicia's prophecy concluded with a daunting choice. To permanently banish the curse, someone, or something, must make a sacrifice. The strongest magic, she said, could only be wielded by someone willing to give up their own life or power. Mira and her companions faced a harrowing dilemma. They could attempt to seal the darkness forever, risking their own lives, or try to find a way to coexist with the shadow, accepting that darkness was part of the world's balance. Meanwhile, in the shadows, an unexpected figure emerged, an ancient guardian known as Thaler, who had once protected Eldoria from the curse's initial rise. Thaler had been sealed away centuries ago, his spirit bound by powerful magic. He appeared to Mira in a dream, warning her. "The balance is fragile. The darkness is not your enemy but a part of life's cycle. To truly heal, you must understand and accept both light and shadow." Thaler's words echoed in her mind as she awoke, realizing that the true path forward might lie not in extermination but in harmony. As dawn broke over Eldoria, the realm stood at a crossroads. The shadows beneath the palace stirred once more, and the secrets buried in its depths threatened to explode into chaos. Leora's plans advanced quietly in the background, her desire for vengeance fueling her resolve. The Heart of Shadows pulsed faintly, waiting for the moment to be unleashed. And at the heart of it all, Mira, Roderick, Thane, and the others faced their greatest challenge yet, to choose between fighting the darkness or understanding it, and in doing so, shape the future of Eldoria forever. The sun rose over Eldoria, casting a golden glow that contrasted starkly with the shadows creeping beneath the palace walls. Mira, Roderick, Thane, and Alicia gathered in the grand hall, their faces etched with concern and resolve. Mira stepped forward, her voice steady but filled with urgency. "We've seen what darkness can do when left unchecked, but we've also learned that denying it only gives it strength. The Heart of Shadows is awakening again, and we must decide, do we fight it, or seek to understand it?" Roderick looked at her with a mixture of admiration and doubt. The ease of destruction is tempting. Yet, if we attempt to coexist, what if this darkness consumes us all? Thane clenched his fists. We can't run from the truth. Darkness and light are two sides of the same coin. Perhaps the answer lies not in defeating the shadow outright but in finding a way to balance both. Alicia nodded wisely. The ancient seers spoke of a harmony that surpasses mere conflict. To truly heal Eldoria, we must embrace the possibility that darkness holds a part of the truth, a truth we've long ignored. Meanwhile, in the secret chambers of the palace, Leora watched through a hidden mirror, her eyes gleaming with cunning. She had learned of the growing unrest, of the hero's dilemma, and knew that this uncertainty could be exploited. She reached into her cloak and retrieved a small, dark crystal, the fragment of the Heart of Shadows she had hidden away. Her plan was to release its power at the right moment, tipping the scales in her favor and claiming Eldoria's throne. "The time is coming," she whispered, her voice cold as ice. "Soon, the true darkness will awaken, and I will be the one to command it." Back in the great hall, Mira pondered deeply. She remembered Alicia's words and Thalos' warning. The balance of light and shadow was delicate. To tip the scales in either direction could bring ruin. She spoke softly. "If we choose to understand the shadow, we must be willing to make a sacrifice. Someone must be willing to face the darkness within themselves. That's the only way to truly find harmony." Thane's gaze hardened. "Are you suggesting we let the darkness into our hearts?" Mira nodded. "Not let it rule us, but acknowledge it. Only then can we forge a way to coexist. Like night follows day, darkness and light must exist side by side." Roderick hesitated, then spoke. "It's a dangerous path, but perhaps the only hope we have." Alicia stepped forward, clutching an ancient relic, an orb filled with swirling mist. "This is the trial of the heart. Only those willing to confront their deepest fears and regrets can pass. It's the key to unlocking true harmony." One by one, the heroes entered the chamber where the trial awaited. Mira faced visions of her past failures. Thane confronted the guilt of his past mistakes. Roderick saw the fear of losing everything he held dear. In the depths of their souls, they found strength, acceptance, forgiveness, and hope. The trials revealed that understanding their own darkness was the first step in mastering it. As they emerged victorious, the shadows beneath Eldoria stirred with renewed vigor. The Heart of Shadows pulsed ominously, and Leora's dark crystal crackled with energy. In the palace vaults, her plan was nearly complete. The sealed chamber holding the true source of the curse trembled. Leora's voice echoed in the corridors. "Soon, the darkness will be free, and no one will stand in my way." With newfound clarity, the heroes prepared for the ultimate choice. Seal the curse forever, risking the destruction of part of themselves to prevent chaos. Seek the balance, risking exposure to darkness but gaining the possibility of true harmony. Embrace the darkness fully, risking losing their humanity to wield its power. Mira, standing before her companions, reached out her hand. "Whatever we choose, we must stand united. Eldoria's fate depends on us." Roderick looked at her with resolve. "Then let's choose wisely, for all our sakes." Thane nodded, gripping his sword. "The shadow is awakening again, but so is our hope. We will face whatever comes together." As they prepared to make their choice, Leora stepped into the hall, her eyes glowing with a dark light. She held aloft the Heart of Shadows, ready to unleash its power. The realm held its breath. The old and new conflicts converged, and the true battle for Eldoria's soul was about to begin. The grand hall trembled as the heroes gathered, their hearts pounding with anticipation. Leora's dark crystal radiated malevolence, casting shadows across the chamber. She held the Heart of Shadows aloft, its dark energy humming like a living thing. "You've wasted your time," Leora sneered. "The darkness is mine now. And with it, I will reshape Eldoria into my image." Mira stepped forward, voice steady despite the danger. "Leora, this isn't the way. Darkness isn't your enemy, it's part of us all. We can find a way to coexist, but only if you let go of your hatred and desire for revenge. Leora's eyes flashed with fury. Coexistence? No. I will have power, and I will have vengeance. The darkness is mine to command. Suddenly, shadows erupted from the floor, twisting and writhing like serpents. Leora's unleashed magic had begun to tear the fabric of reality. The realm itself seemed to shudder. Mira, Roderick, Thane, and Alicia braced themselves as the shadows surged forward. Their combined strength glowed with a radiant light, fighting back the darkness's grasp. In that moment, Leora's voice echoed through the chaos. You think your light can save you? The darkness is eternal. But Mira remembered Alicia's words. The darkness is not your enemy but a part of life's cycle. With renewed resolve, she raised her hands, channeling the magic of the trial of the heart. In a flash of blinding light, Mira shouted, We choose harmony! The shadows hesitated, then began to recede, dissolving into the air like mist. The heart of shadows shimmered as its power was gently released, flowing into the realm, not as chaos, but as a balance. Leora's scream echoed as her magic was overwhelmed. The dark crystal shattered, and her form was enveloped in a swirling vortex of shadows and light. Her hatred was transformed into understanding, an awakening that she, too, was a part of Eldoria's delicate balance. In the aftermath, Mira stepped forward and placed her hand upon the heart of shadows. To truly heal Eldoria, she whispered, someone must accept the darkness within themselves. She closed her eyes and made a silent vow, channeling her own strength to seal the remaining fragments of the curse within her. Her sacrifice was a testament to her leadership, a willingness to give up her own safety for the realm's future. As Mira's form shimmered with radiant light, the shadows receded, and peace returned to Eldoria. The realm's skies brightened, and a new dawn broke over the land. The people awoke to a world transformed. Shadows and light danced together in harmony, and the realm thrived in a delicate balance. The ancient curse was broken, not destroyed, but integrated into the fabric of the realm. Leora's fate was left uncertain. Her consciousness merged with the shadows she once sought to command. Some believed she had found redemption, others feared she might one day return. Roderick and Thane vowed to protect this new harmony, ensuring that the lessons of the past would never be forgotten. Alicia, the seer, watched over Eldoria, her eyes shining with hope. Balance is the greatest magic of all, she whispered, and it will guide this land into a brighter future. As the story concludes, the realm of Eldoria stands at a crossroads once more, filled with hope, wisdom, and the promise that even in darkness, there is light, and in light, the potential for darkness to teach us. And so, the tale of Eldoria continues, with new adventures waiting just beyond the horizon. Years had passed since the great battle that balanced light and darkness in Eldoria. The land flourished under the gentle glow of harmony, and stories of Mira's sacrifice inspired generations. Yet beneath this peace, a new mystery began to stir. A whisper carried by the wind, calling explorers to the ancient ruins of the lost temple of Eldoria. Legend spoke of a sacred relic hidden deep within its crumbling halls, a gem called the Heart of Eons, said to hold the power to unlock the very fabric of time itself. Many adventurers had tried to uncover its secrets, but none returned. Now, a young scholar named Kael, driven by curiosity and a desire to understand the true history of Eldoria, gathered a small group of brave explorers. Among them were Lyra, a skilled healer, Jorvik, a fearless warrior, and Ira, a mysterious sorceress whose magic was tied to the realm's ancient past. The group set out at dawn, their path winding through dense forests and treacherous mountains. As they approached the ruins, an eerie silence fell, broken only by the whispering wind. Lyra examined strange symbols etched into the stones. These markings are ancient, perhaps even older than the curse that once plagued Eldoria, she said softly. They speak of a guardian, a protector of the Heart of Eons. Jorvik unsheathed his sword, eyes scanning the shadows. Then we'd better be prepared. Whatever's inside doesn't want visitors. Ira stepped forward, her hands glowing with a faint blue light. I can sense the magic within. The temple is alive, guarded by powerful enchantments and perhaps a living spirit. Inside the temple, the air was thick with the scent of forgotten time. The walls shimmered with shimmering runes, and a path of glowing stones led deeper into the darkness. As they advanced, the adventurers faced a series of trials. First, puzzles of light and shadow tested their wit, then, illusions of their deepest fears threatened to break their resolve. Kaelin's knowledge of history proved invaluable, deciphering the ancient texts that revealed the temple's purpose: to protect the Heart of Eons from those who would misuse its power. At the heart of the temple, they found a vast chamber, where the Heart of Eons floated within a crystal cage of shimmering energy. But standing before it was a towering guardian, an ancient spirit cloaked in shadows and light, whose voice echoed like thunder. "You seek the Heart of Eons," the spirit rumbled. "But only those pure of heart and steadfast in purpose may claim it. To prove yourselves, you must face the trial of time, a test of sacrifice, wisdom, and trust." Ira stepped forward. "We seek knowledge and balance, not power for its own sake. We are willing to prove our intentions." The guardian nodded, then summoned visions of Eldoria's past, present, and possible futures, scenarios of hope and despair, of heroes and villains. Kaelin saw himself forsaking personal ambitions to protect the realm's future. Jorvik saw the importance of loyalty and courage. Lyra glimpsed the healing arts that could mend even the deepest wounds. Ira felt the weight of her magic, bound to the realm's destiny. In that moment they understood, the Heart of Eons was not merely a relic, but a symbol of Eldoria's true power, the unity of its people, history, and magic. The Guardian's voice returned. "You have shown your worth. But the Heart of Eons must be entrusted to only one. Who will carry the burden, and the hope, of Eldoria into the future?" The team looked at each other, weighing their hopes and fears. Each had their reasons. Kaelin wanted to unlock the secrets of time to prevent future calamities. Lyra wished to heal the wounds of the land and its people. Jorvik sought to ensure protection and strength for Eldoria's warriors. Ira aimed to safeguard the magic that bound their world together. After a moment of silence, Ira stepped forward. "I believe the heart belongs to everyone. I will take it, not for power, but to ensure it's used wisely, guided by trust and harmony." The Guardian nodded solemnly. "Then your choice is made. May the Heart of Eons serve as a beacon of hope through the ages." Ira gently took the gem, feeling its pulse resonate with her magic. The temple shimmered, and the Guardian faded into the shadows, leaving behind a sense of peace and purpose. As they emerged into the daylight, they carried with them a renewed sense of unity, knowing that their trust and courage had preserved Eldoria's future. And so, the realm entered a new era, one of curiosity, discovery, and the enduring legacy of those who dared to look beyond the horizon, seeking the truths hidden within the sands of time. Ira held the Heart of Eons close to her chest as she and her companions traveled back to Eldoria. The gem pulsed softly, whispering promises of knowledge and untold power. Yet beneath its shimmering surface, secrets far older than any of them lay dormant, waiting to be uncovered. As they journeyed through the land, Ira's magic began to stir. She felt visions flickering at the edges of her mind, visions of a time when Eldoria was born, forged from the very essence of magic and the dreams of ancients. One night, under the glow of the twin moons, Ira experienced a vivid dream. She found herself standing before a massive, ancient tree, the World Heart, whose roots intertwined with the very core of Eldoria. Its leaves shimmered with stars, its branches stretched into eternity. A voice echoed through her mind. "Ira, bearer of the Heart of Eons, you are the new guardian of the realm's true history. To protect Eldoria, you must awaken the memories hidden within the World Heart." Awakening the memories would require Ira to journey to the sacred grove where the World Heart resided, a place hidden beyond time and space, accessible only through a portal of pure magic. The portal shimmered into existence beneath a silver-lit sky. Ira stepped through, feeling the weight of centuries on her shoulders. Inside, the grove was alive with luminescent flora and floating orbs of light, embodiments of lost knowledge. At the center stood the World Heart, a colossal tree radiating ancient power. Ira reached out, placing her hand upon its trunk. As she did, visions flooded her mind. The creation of Eldoria by celestial beings known as the Ethereals. The forging of the Heart of Eons as a gift to maintain balance. The rise and fall of civilizations, all intertwined with the magic of the realm. Suddenly, a shadowy figure appeared, a remnant of the past, a guardian of the memories long buried. It was the spirit of the first keeper, an ancient protector who had sealed the knowledge to prevent chaos. "You seek the truth," the spirit rumbled. "But knowledge is a double-edged sword. Are you prepared to bear the burden?" Ira nodded, her resolve unwavering. "I am ready." The spirit presented her with a test, the trial of memory. Ira had to confront her deepest fears and doubts about her role as the bearer of the Heart of Eons. Visions of her past, her fears of inadequacy, and doubts about her worth flashed before her. But as she faced these shadows, she remembered the words of her friends, the sacrifices they had made, and her own strength. With each step, she reclaimed her confidence, understanding that true power came from unity, understanding, and trust, not just magic. When she emerged victorious, the spirit granted her access to the ancient memories. She saw the origins of the Heart of Eons, crafted from the very essence of the realm's magic, designed to be a beacon of harmony and balance. Ira awoke with a newfound purpose. She understood that her role was not just to guard the Heart of Eons but to guide Eldoria into a future where knowledge and magic would be used for the good of all. Returning through the portal, she shared her visions with her friends. Together, they resolved to protect the realm's history and use its ancient wisdom to foster peace and understanding. Ira and her comrades became the new custodians of Eldoria's secrets, ensuring the lessons of the past would shape the future. The Heart of Eons remained a symbol of hope, a reminder that true strength lies in unity, knowledge, and the courage to face the unknown. And so, Eldoria thrived, a realm where magic, history, and the spirit of adventure intertwined, forever guided by the light of those willing to uncover its deepest mysteries. Months passed since Ira's awakening of the World Heart's memories, and Eldoria basked in a renewed era of harmony. The Heart of Eons shone brighter than ever, radiating hope across the land. Yet, beneath this tranquil surface, a shadow stirred, one that had been dormant for centuries. In the deepest corners of the forbidden caves, hidden beneath the mountains, an ancient seal cracked. A dark force, long imprisoned by the first guardians of Eldoria, began to stir. Its name was Malarath, a being born of chaos and despair, whose very essence threatened to unravel the fabric of reality. Whispers of Malaratha's awakening reached the ears of Kael, now a wise scholar and historian. Through ancient texts and forbidden scrolls, he learned of a prophecy buried within the archives of the lost city of Eldoria. A prophecy that foretold the return of a hero from the shadows, one who would face Malarath and restore balance. The prophecy spoke of a figure known as the Shadowborn, a hero born of darkness, yet destined to be the realm's salvation. It warned that this hero would possess a mysterious mark, a scar shaped like a crescent moon, and a heart scarred by loss. Many dismissed it as myth, but Kael sensed the truth. He shared his findings with Ira and the others, realizing they must prepare for the inevitable. "Malaratha's return is imminent," Kael warned. "And only the Shadowborn can stop it." Ira, Jorvik, and Lyra vowed to find this hero, even if it meant venturing into the most dangerous unknowns. Their quest led them to the ancient ruins of Eldoria, a city swallowed by time, where echoes of lost civilizations whispered secrets on the wind. In the shadows of Eldoria, they discovered a hidden sanctuary, the Cave of Echoes, where the prophecy was said to be inscribed. As they deciphered the ancient runes, a strange figure emerged from the darkness, a young orphan named Kael, who bore the mark of the crescent moon on his palm. Kael was timid, haunted by memories of loss and abandonment. His only connection to the prophecy was the scar, a reminder of a night when his village was destroyed by a mysterious shadow creature. When Kael touched the ancient relics, visions flooded his mind. He saw himself wielding a power he did not understand, fighting to save a realm that seemed both familiar and distant. Kael's discovery was not accidental. The prophecy was guiding him, calling him to embrace his destiny. Yet, the darkness within him threatened to consume him, echoing the very chaos Malarath embodied. Ira and her friends recognized the truth. Kael's heart was torn between light and shadow. To save Eldoria, he would need to accept both parts of himself, and stand against the darkness threatening to engulf their world. As Malarath's shadow spread across Eldoria, corrupting everything in its path, Kael's true power awakened. He became the shadow of hope, a hero born of darkness but guided by unwavering resolve. In a battle that shook the very skies, Kael faced Malarath amidst the ruins of Eldoria. The darkness roared, but Kael's heart shone brighter than ever, fueled by the bonds of friendship and the hope of a future worth fighting for. With Ira's magic, Jorvik's strength, and Lyra's healing, they pushed back the darkness. In a final act of courage, Kael sacrificed his own life force, channeling the combined magic of the Heart of Eons and his own inner strength to banish Malarath forever. As the dust settled, Eldoria's skies cleared. Kael's sacrifice had sealed the darkness, but at a cost. The hero was gone, leaving behind only the scar of the crescent moon as a symbol of hope and resilience. Ira, Jorvik, and Lyra vowed to honor Kael's memory by guarding the realm's future and never forgetting the power that lies within even the most unlikely heroes. And so, Eldoria entered a new chapter, one where shadows and light coexisted, reminding everyone that true bravery often emerges from the depths of darkness. The victory over Malarath marked a turning point in Eldoria's history. The skies shimmered with renewed hope, and the land began to heal from the scars of the shadow's wrath. Yet, beneath this surface of peace, whispers of new mysteries stirred, calling brave souls to uncover what lay beneath. Ira, burdened yet inspired by Kael's sacrifice, dedicated herself to understanding the deeper magic that bound their realm, secrets that might unlock even greater harmony and resilience. Jorvik and Lyra, steadfast as ever, stood by her side, eager to face whatever new challenges awaited. One day, while exploring the ruins of Velora, Lyra discovered a strange, shimmering portal, an opening to a hidden realm known as the Verdant Hollow. Unlike any place they had seen before, it was a lush, vibrant world teeming with life and magic, untouched by darkness. Intrigued, the trio entered the hollow, where the air was thick with the scent of blooming flowers and the hum of ancient energy. The land was alive, whispering stories of renewal and rebirth. Within the hollow, they encountered the Guardians of Growth, mystical beings tasked with nurturing Eldoria's vitality. These spirits revealed that the realm was a sanctuary for the world's most precious secrets, the seeds of renewal. These seeds contained the essence of life, capable of restoring even the most damaged lands. However, the Guardians warned of a looming threat, the dying roots. Long ago, a curse had begun to spread from the roots of the world heart itself, threatening to wither all life if left unchecked. The curse was a remnant of Malarath's chaos, a dark seed that had embedded itself deep within the realm's core. It was now up to the heroes to find and nurture the seeds of renewal, using them to heal the dying roots before Eldoria's balance was forever lost. Ira, Jorvik, and Lyra set out on a quest to gather these sacred seeds scattered across the realm. Their journey took them to forgotten groves, beneath ancient waterfalls, and into the depths of the crystal caverns, each location holding a piece of Eldoria's future. Along the way, they met new allies, the blooming spirits, ethereal beings who guided them and shared their wisdom. They also faced new challenges. Corrupted flora and shadow creatures that sought to steal the seeds of renewal for themselves. As they collected the seeds, Ira discovered an even greater truth. The Heart of Eons was not just a symbol of history but a living source of vitality. When combined with the seeds of renewal, it could awaken the realm's deepest power, restoring life and balance on a scale never seen before. In a climactic moment, the heroes returned to the world heart, planting the seeds of renewal into its roots. As they did, the entire land burst into bloom, colors brighter, rivers clearer, and skies more radiant than ever. The dying roots were healed, and Eldoria's life force surged anew, stronger and more resilient. The realm's magic had evolved, embracing both its history and its potential for rebirth. With Eldoria rejuvenated, the heroes understood that their journey was never truly over. The realm's future depended on the ongoing balance of knowledge, magic, and compassion. Ira became the keeper of the Heart of Eons, guiding future generations and safeguarding their world's secrets. Jorvik and Lyra continued to explore the land, nurturing its growth and sharing their stories of hope. And Kael's sacrifice lived on, inspiring all to believe that even in the darkest moments, the seeds of renewal and hope could bloom anew. Years passed since the great battle with Malorath, and Eldoria blossomed into a realm of vibrant life and harmony. The skies shimmered with a gentle glow, and the land thrived under the watchful guardianship of those who had fought to protect it. Ira, now wise and revered, continued to nurture the magic of the Heart of Eons, ensuring that its power remained a source of hope for generations to come. Jorvik's strength and courage became legend, inspiring young warriors to stand bravely against any darkness. Lyra's healing touch mended wounds and soothed hearts, weaving compassion into Eldoria's very fabric. Kael's sacrifice remained a beacon of hope, his scar a reminder that even the most unlikely heroes can change the world. In his memory, a grand monument was erected at the heart of Eldoria, inscribed with his story, a tale of shadows, courage, and the eternal light of hope. The seeds of renewal had transformed the realm, awakening new forests, rivers, and skies of endless beauty. The guardians of growth watched over this rebirth, ensuring that Eldoria's magic remained balanced and strong. And so, Eldoria entered an era of peace and prosperity, its people forever inspired by the heroes who faced darkness and emerged victorious. The realm understood that true strength lay not just in magic or might, but in hope, unity, and the unwavering belief that even in the darkest night, a new dawn will always rise.